Whether you fall on anxiously attached or avoidantly attached or something maybe in between, and you're thinking to yourself, when is it ever going to be my turn? Is it ever going to be my turn? Let me just say that you might be the one sabotaging your own relationships. And what they don't tell you about moving from an insecure attachment style to a secure attachment style is that you're still going to be probably triggered in ways in which you identify. So if you're anxiously attached, getting anxious over certain situations when you are getting close in a relationship, you're still going to have those triggers come up. It's all about how you respond and being able to self-soothe. So let's get into it this episode. Welcome back to another episode of Way Too Wifey. I'm your host, respectfully Gabby, and in this podcast, we talk all things dating, relationships, and of course, self-confidence in this modern day. So if you are new here, hi, I'm Gabby. I'm an online dating and confidence coach where I help you transform your confidence to live your best lives inside and outside of relationships. If you are tired of feeling stuck in situationships, not knowing where you stand, and stuck in these unfulfilling patterns, my 8-week transformation program may be exactly what you need to get started. This program is specifically designed for those with anxious attachment, abandonment issues, dealing with low self-esteem, and people-pleasing tendencies. What makes this program unique is that it's backed by science-based strategies combined with subconscious reprogramming to help you get back to feeling like yourself again, helping you attract better in your love life. One-on-one direct support from me, we rewire and rework your subconscious patterns that are keeping you stuck. You can finally step into the best version of you and manifest the relationship that you truly desire. If you're ready to start attracting better, hit the link in my bio to book a discovery call with me. If you haven't done so already and you've been watching this podcast, please hit the like, hit that 5-star rating, subscribe button, turn on your bell notification so you'll never miss another episode. Let's hop into the episode. For myself, I have a fearful avoidant attachment style that has moved into more of a secure attachment style just based on how I'm reacting and how I'm able to deal with my anxiety when it does come up. Basically, what this means is that there's a spectrum. One side is completely avoidant, doesn't want to deal with conflict, doesn't want to deal with people. They run away at the first sight of like feeling closeness with someone. They don't like confrontation. On the other side of the spectrum is the anxiously attached person who really, really craves being close with someone. They want to be with them all the time. They have a lot of people-pleasing tendencies because they want this person to fit in their life at the expense of their own needs not being met. What happens is this anxious person and this avoidant person, they love this dynamic because this person's traumas and this person's traumas go hand in hand. As a fearful avoidant, I fall on both sides of the spectrum. So when someone tends to be a little bit more avoidant, I become a little bit more anxious, and vice versa. If that person's a little bit more anxious, I become a little bit more avoidant. So my fears come along with the fear of abandonment, but then also the fear of being too close with someone. And I feel very suffocated when I am with someone who's super anxious. And then on the other side of that, I crave closeness to the people that are more avoidant. Was thinking this is actually the most disorganized of all of the 4 attachment styles that you can be. I'm like, of course, love that for me. But I also think it's my superpower because I can relate to both people. And it's also helped me understand people a lot more. Going into a more secure attachment style, I can understand what each partner needs. So if they're more anxious, I understand that they need a little bit more validation. I understand they want to communicate. I understand they want closeness. And being able to openly communicate about that, because I know how it feels like to be very anxious in relationships, but then also being able to communicate my needs that, hey, I do need space. If that's not something that they can give, then maybe this dynamic isn't going to work because I'm not going to meet your needs and you're not meeting my needs. Was recently in a situation where I was talking to this guy and learned that he was super anxious. And I'm like, oh God, no, which is fine because he really, truly did care. But the problem is that when I fall into that dynamic, immediately I want to withdraw. I want to like pull away. The thing is, you're always going to be triggered in those ways. And my flight or flight was like, okay, I'm leaving, flight. Immediately out, I'm gone. Being able to communicate that like, hey, I just need a little bit of space. It's not you. It's really up to him at that point of how he wants to respond. If he's responding in a secure way, that I probably would have given this a chance. But the thing is, he continued to block my space. Hey, I need to be closer to you. I don't care that you need space. Let's still hang out tomorrow. No, you're not understanding my needs though. And I'm telling you that this is the space that I need and you're bulldozing over those needs, then that's on you at this point. I don't think this is going to work out. Being able to openly have those conversations is so important. When you're moving more towards a secure attachment style, you have to be able to have those conversations, because it is very hard, especially when I fall into the avoidant. So I understand the avoidant mind. When you fall into that period, you don't want to talk about anything. You're so emotionally overstimulated. You don't want to discuss anything. You completely shut down. You have to understand that if you want to get to a place where you feel secure in the relationship and you actually do want a relationship in your life, you're just feeling avoidant, you have to understand there's a whole other person on the other side of this who has needs as well. And being able to compromise and say, okay, this doesn't feel good, but I need to communicate how I'm feeling. This is where I'm at. It's not us. I just need a little bit of time. I'll come back to you tomorrow and we can talk about whatever. But I do need my space right now. And if that person can't respect that, then that's on them. And I think if you want to walk away at that point, then walk away. But being able, again, to communicate is going to be the determination of if any relationship is going to work out. And then when you do fall on the more anxious side, it's like being able to be your own person, take care of your own needs, being able to self-soothe when that other person does need their space is going to put you in a position where it actually can work with an avoidant partner. Otherwise, your anxiety is going to push that person away so far in the other direction. And every relationship that you get in who's not secure, you're going to push that person further and further away. That is why it's so important to heal that core wound if you do fall on the more anxious side, because every relationship that could have maybe been healthy, you're going to push away because you don't know how to self-soothe and self-regulate when it does come to a time where you're like, no, I need this person. I need this person. I need this person. The more you feel needy of that person's energy, especially when they're avoidant, you're going to draw that person in the other direction, that they want nothing to do with you. And yes, maybe they did start off the relationship like they were telling you everything that you wanted to hear. They were imagining this life with you and they really felt comfortable and good in your presence. But I think when it comes down to it, it's like, I also don't want to feel responsible for all of your feelings. I don't want to feel like I have to validate everything in your life. You have to be able to do that for yourself, and you have to feel confident in yourself first and foremost. And that's what we talk about in my 8-week transformation program. So if you're ready to rewire your brain and stop self-sabotaging relationship, please hit the Stan link in my bio. I feel like life has super been testing me. Also feel like it's put me on such a clear path forward because I was dealing with two guys at the same time. And if you mix them both together, they'd be the perfect guy, really. But one side of the relationship was super avoidant, super emotionally just not available at all. But I could tell that he did like me and we had a really good time. I really liked him, was super avoidant. And at the end of the day, he was not willing to have any types of conversations about it or about feelings or about like any type of conflict. He felt very uncomfortable, and that's not my problem to deal with. At the end of the day, I deserve someone who's going to be open and honest about their feelings and let me know where they're at and isn't scared of having a conversation about very small things. That's not my responsibility to, if you're not willing to have a conversation with me, then fine. You're not in a place to even entertain a relationship, if we're being honest. On the other side of that, the other guy that I was talking to, super, super anxious. And it really triggered my avoidance side. I tried to talk to him about it. I tried to get him to understand where I was at. I don't think he fully understood, and nor did he really take the time to ask certain questions. He just immediately, it was like, hey, then let's just be friends. And I'm like, that came out of nowhere. I literally just said that I needed space. You're overreacting. And then the next day he followed it up with a bunch of text messages. I'm like, this is super overwhelming. Emotionally, I'm shutting down. But then I'm like, I need to let him know where I'm at, because obviously he's not in a good place right now. I need to let him know, this isn't going to probably work because... And if he was able to regulate his emotions, genuinely, I probably would have given him a chance. So if you're listening to this and you're on the anxious side, as an avoidant talking about this, I just want to let you know, sometimes that person really just needs their space. Sometimes they just need to self-regulate, and give them their space. I'm not saying go days and days and days without talking to this person. They need to show a little bit of consistency, but genuinely, the only thing he really did was push me further away. And I am taking a little bit of responsibility. I probably should have communicated this beforehand, but I think when it comes down to moving into a more secure attachment style, you have to be able to communicate first and foremost, and then also be able to self-soothe. And that's dealing with both sides of the spectrum. So anxious, you have to be able to self-soothe. Avoidance have to be able to communicate. And when you bring them together, that is when the magic happens. Not everyone is going to be perfect. Not everyone is going to be everything that you could ever want. And that person knows exactly how to respond to you. This person's just getting to know you. They barely know you. They don't know where your triggers lie. They don't know anything about you. They don't know how to handle you in certain situations. So you have to be able to, first and foremost, know what you need from a partner, but then also be able to communicate those needs effectively so you get the point across in a way that they understand. Because if you're talking to avoidant and all you're bringing up is emotions, they're going to be really emotionally overwhelmed. But if you bring up the problem in a more logical way, they're probably going to be a little bit more open to having a conversation. It's all about understanding first and foremost what you need in a relationship, being able to get your needs across and communicate those needs, and then also understand your partner in being able to show up in ways that they need. It takes two to tango, and I think most relationships nowadays fall apart. Situationships happen. People aren't communicating. This is why the dating scene right now is so hard, because no one knows, first of all, what they need, and then no one knows how to communicate those needs. And no one else is looking at it from their partner's perspective, like, okay, well, what does this person need? What do they need from me? And am I able to show up in a way for them that's going to be easy for them? Because if you're an anxious and all you're thinking about is your own feelings and getting your needs met, your needs being, I need this person to be close with me, I need reassurance, but then this person feels resentful because they feel like they're giving you all their time and energy, and that's not what is true to them. They need their space every now and then. You have to be able to compromise in certain situations. Both coming together and able to communicate those needs is really what's going to make the relationship work. But on the other hand is if you're an avoidant attachment, you constantly need your space. You're neglecting the relationship completely. And this person's not getting their needs met, but you're still popping in and out when you want to. It's never going to work out because this person is so anxious. They are not getting their needs met in the relationship. And eventually that's either going to completely go opposite directions, or you're going to have a really toxic push and pull dynamic. Those relationships just never work. I can promise you that. And I'm sure you've probably felt one of those relationships in the past, but I can tell you right now, the only relationships that last are the ones that are able to communicate and know what they need from their partner. Anything else, that is really what a secure partner comes down to. Yes, you're still going to have those triggers. Yes, you're still going to feel anxious. Yes, you're still going to want to run at the first sign of closeness. Trust me, I'm there and I've been there. If you want to have a fulfilling relationship, you have to understand your needs. And I think the other thing is being able to communicate those boundaries, because when you are, especially an anxious partner, a lot of times you're going to lack those boundaries. You're people pleasing to the point of you're neglecting your own needs, and then you end up becoming resentful of your partner, and that partner doesn't even know that they've done anything wrong because you haven't spoke up and said anything about what you need from the relationship. So being able to assert the boundaries where needed. Another thing with the anxious attachment is that when you are people pleasing and you're pedestaling this person, like you're putting this person on a pedestal, you think that they're the greatest thing ever, you are idolizing them to a sense. First of all, I can just say right now, no one wants to be idolized unless they're a narcissist. Other than that, the normal person wants to be an equal. And I get this is probably going to be a little bit controversial. I want my partner to respect me, to appreciate me, to see me in the most beautiful sense. I want them to think so highly of me. I want them to be inspired by me. I want them to be like, oh my God, you're the most beautiful person that I've ever laid eyes on. I want that. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I want him to put me on a pedestal. I want him to love and respect me, but I don't want him to think that I'm much better than him and that I'm so much greater, because what that comes down to is that I'm going to feel like I can walk all over my partner. If that's the case, I'm not going to respect you as a person. And why would anyone respect you when they're looking down on you? As much as we all say that we want to be worshipped the ground that we walk on, I just don't know about you. I don't want to be able to walk all over my partner. That's just not fulfilling for me. I want to be able to, look up to them and be inspired by them. we both come together and we're this dynamic that is, we're encouraging each other, it's a mutual relationship where we're equals. And anything that feels a little lopsided, or any partner that puts their other half up on a pedestal, is never going to work. Lopsided relationships never work. That person will take advantage, will take and take and take until you end up resenting them because you never asserted yourself in the needs that you have. So if you're ready to heal, if you're ready to take that step forward, again, book a discovery call with me. My 8-week transformation program is specifically designed for the anxious attachment, getting over your people-pleasing needs and getting to a better place internally so that you can attract and also keep the relationships in your life. But that is it for this week's episode. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all again next Tuesday.